Good morning. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist, here with some words to get us going today. And the card deck that jumped off the pile at me today is the Power of Surrender deck by Dr. Judith Orloff. And this card is one we've seen at least several times already this year, and apparently we need a little bolus here. So our card is Surrender Obsessive Thinking, and I want you to just think about that in your mind. Well, what are the things that you tend to ruminate about? Good morning, Cheryl. Glad you're here. Looks like someone else is here also. Glad you're here. Your name isn't popping up, but that's okay because I'm just glad you're with us. Think about the things that tend to roll through your mind over and over and over again, where you either are trying to come to an answer, a decision, a conclusion about something, or it's something from the past that keeps bothering you, dogging you. I remember when, and then you're off and running. Those things are the things we're going to work at releasing today, or we're going to settle into releasing today. You can take either approach, divine masculine or divine feminine. Either one will move you forward in this little endeavor. So let me read the card to you, and then we're going to do some stuff. If you're obsessing about a person or situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity or even solve the problem. So let me give you my little riff on why that is. When we are dogging something, we're pushing up against it, we're kind of locking it into place in a way, because there's resistance. We push one direction, it pushes the other, all right? When we cease to push, good morning, Joe, glad you're here. This then has the opportunity to change, to move, to ferment, whatever words you want to use to put to it. So how do we take that step of releasing something to spirit so that we're no longer chewing on it obsessively and spirit has room to work? One of my favorites is the God jar, and you can use a Kleenex box, you can use whatever you have, and if you'll notice, mine is pretty darn full, which suggests to all of us that I've been obsessing about stuff, which makes sense given things that have been going on in my life. But I don't want to waste my precious energy obsessing about things that I don't have control over the outcomes, all right? As long as I'm showing up and doing my part, the rest is in God's hands, right? So the God jar, this idea comes from Tosha Silver. Good morning, Linda. Glad you're here. And all you do is you write down whatever the issue, dilemma, concern, worry is on a little piece of paper, fold it up, and put it in the jar. That ritual is signaling you, I'm letting this go now. I have done what I can do with this. I'm turning it over to God. However this goes, it goes. And every time that worry wants to pop back up, because remember, our subconscious mind loves to keep us in this state of anxiety and worry, because then it doesn't have to worry about us making changes in our lives, right? We just sit and stew in our juices instead of moving something forward. So when we put it in the jar, it not only signals us, I'm letting it go, it signals spirit, I'm ready for your intervention. I'm ready for the divine wisdom to step in and engineer whatever's going to be engineered here. And there's several things that I want to say about that, because remember way back when we had The Secret, and there was the I'm trying to get my footrest over here. I'm so short, feet don't hit the ground. Good morning, Martha. Glad you are here. Welcome. So what you want to do with that is release it, put it on the little slip of paper into the jar, let it go. That opens you up for powers greater than yourself to operate. What happens then is you're not dictating the answer. Okay, God, I want this solution at this time in this color, size, shape, blah, blah. Let all that stuff go, because the universe is eloquent, far more eloquent than we are. So we may pick this little bitty solution right here, and Spirit has a solution this big planned for you. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Open yourself to receiving a divine right solution. All right? And The state of being that most fosters those solutions coming to you in divine right order and divine right timing is when we let it go. When we let it go, when we are as open as possible to whatever's going to come our way. All right, wait and see what happens with this one. Then shit can happen. So, turning it over, letting it go, whenever it dogs us again, we remind ourselves, nope, I've let this go, I'm turning this over, etc. So now I'm going to teach you a thing or two in terms of ways to let it go. Because energetically, putting it in the jar is a beautiful first step for letting it go. But there's other things that you can do that can be very helpful. So, first thing I want to do is the whole brain posture. And the gist behind that is, here's your brain sitting in your head. You got hemispheres, right? And there's a band of fibers in between called the corpus callosum that allows your hemispheres to communicate with each other. When you are stressed and your body is bathed in stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, etc., etc., this bridge that's supposed to communicate between the hemispheres, good morning, Deb, actually becomes a barrier. And there's less communication, less clear thought. That's when people say, I was so upset I couldn't think straight. You're only banging on half your cylinders at that point. So what we want to do is calm that down so that your brain can get back online and serve you better. So, whole brain posture. You're sitting, cross one ankle over the other. Trust, if I were present with you, if we were coaching together, I would muscle test to see which direction's the better direction for you. If you muscle test, feel free to test both positions, left over right and right over left. If you don't muscle test, trust your gut. Trust your gut. It will be fine. All right? So you've got your ankles crossed, arms out in front like a zombie, one wrist over the other. Turn your palms down, interlace your fingers. You can rest them in your lap, or you can bring them up to your chest, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then you're just going to sit for a minute. So you close your eyes, and you breathe, and you just tune into that anxiety, upset, worry, whatever, that you've already committed to the God jar, but now you're going to work at just releasing it totally. Either work at it or relax into. Divine masculine, divine feminine. Okay? And you just wait for some kind of a shift. You may find your breathing slows down. You may find the chatter in your head quiets. However you experience it. And once you feel that shift, then you uncross your feet and put them flat. Undo your hands and make a tent. So if you think about your brain as being a biocomputer, this position told it to edit the program that's on endless loop of worry, fear, all that stuff. And this tells it to save that new, calmer program. Okay? What's cool about this process is you can do it wherever you are. If you're sitting in a meeting, it's very stressful. Under the table, you cross your ankles, you just drop your hands into your lap and cross them over the way I showed you. And you just sit there. And pretty soon things begin to calm down. And you can be that person who at the center of life's storms stands serene or sits serene, wherever you are. Okay, so that's one tool to use to kind of ratchet things down. Let's run through the tapping stuff because I love that. And it's, again, easily accessible, and there's many tapping protocols free online at thetappingsolution.com. But here's the gist of it. Ancient Chinese medicine said that we have these meridian points in our bodies, and they're basically like little switching stations where energy flows and gets stuck. So as we tap, we unstick those energy points. Good morning, Trudy. Glad you are here. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick out something. I'm going to take a drink here. Pick out something that's bugging you right now. If you can pick something that has a pretty high charge to it, all the better, because you'll be able to feel the difference more dramatically. But if all you've got is little worries, pick one of those. That's fine. So I want you to take that worry that you're picking out to work on right now, and I want you to give it a rating on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being nothing, it's flatline, not bothering me at all. 10, it's driving me out of my mind. I want to jump out of my skin and run screaming down the road. Give it a number. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a tapping protocol And this time, I'm not going to put any words to it because I have no idea what all of you are tapping about. Typically, we'd put words with it. The stressful thoughts that we have about it at each tapping point, and you just keep going until it begins to flush out of your system. So the first place you're going to tap is on the side of your hand by your baby finger, known as the karate chop spot. I like doing both. I'm a both person. So you just do that. If you have a thought, put it out there. I'll just give you some sentence stems and you can fill them in. Okay. Even though I have this problem with, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though this has been dogging me for a while, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have no idea how to let this go so it can resolve. Good morning, Dawnine. We're doing some tapping today. Right now we're doing karate chop spot. Even though I don't know how this is going to resolve, I'm ready to find a new way. Okay, inside corner of the eyebrows. Say some of the negative things that go along with this. I hate that this is going on for me. Outside corner of the eyes. What if it never gets better? Under the eyes. If you have glasses on, you might want to take them off, but I'm going to be lazy and leave them on. Under the eyes. This really stinks. Under the nose. Messes up my days. Under the mouth. Gives me anxiety galore. Collarbone. Why do people even have to have anxiety? Under the arms, like where the bra strap runs across, I call this the monkey. Anxiety stinks. And around the crown of your head. I'm ready to let this go. Inside corner of the eyebrows. But what if I don't pay attention and it gets worse? Outside side of the eyes. What if it doesn't fix itself? Under the eyes. What if the universe doesn't hear me? Under the nose. What if? Under the mouth. I am ready to be done with what ifs. Collarbone. I am ready to stay in today. Under the arms. I'm ready to be done worrying about the future. Around the crown of the head. And so it is. Nice deep breath in. Let it go. And what do you notice? Give it a number again. On that scale from 0 to 10, give it a number. 0, nothing's going on. I don't feel it at all. 10, I'm still jumping out of my skin. And you might have some insights into what needs to be tapped on next to bring the number down a little further. So, inside corner of the eyebrows. Focus on whatever that is. Outside corner of the eyes. Breathing. Under the eyes. Trusting the divine has a solution. Under the nose. A willingness to wait patiently as this gets worked out. Under the mouth. Knowing that this could be changed instantly, we are the ones who get in the way. Collarbone. Breathing and allowing. Under the arms. Nice deep breath. And around the crown of the head. Yep, Holly is saying that she's used tapping with no words as a way to just break the chain of what was bothering, like noise in the office. Yes, that works really well. Okay, so don't fret if you don't have the words. And if you go on thetappingsolution.com, they'll give you a protocol and you can plug stuff in. I'm pretty good at coming up with the words because I've done this with people for so long coaching that the words just kind of come. It takes some practice. You could write out your script ahead of time and then put it into place. So again, another nice deep breath. Let it go. And what number would you give it now? Now, some of you will have dropped down to say a 4 or a 3 and be thinking, hallelujah, this is great. Yes, this is really good. A 4 or a 3 is much more livable than a 10. However, you can drop it lower. You can get to the point where it's not even relevant anymore. So I've had people who've gone from a 10 to, yeah, I can remember. There's no zing to it at all. And then they'll go, but you just distracted me with all that tapping stuff. And I'll go, okay, if that's the case, drive that number back up. Focus on it right now. Pay total attention to what was driving you nuts 5 minutes ago. Jack it back up to a 10. And they can't do it. So the research shows that overall it's about a 43% reduction in anxiety when using this process. And again, even if it's not 100%, 43% can be a whole lot more livable, a whole lot more tolerable than a 10 being wired for sound, right? So those are two things you can do to surrender obsessive thinking. That's our card for today, surrendering obsessive thinking. So, three things. We put it in the God jar, we do the whole brain posture, and we do the tapping. All right? Some quick and simple little tools you can use anytime, anywhere. The hardest thing about this whole thing is remembering to do it. Because when we're stewing in our juices, again, our brain's offline, it takes a little bit of oomph to go, oh, wait, I have tools I can use for this, right? So you might want to, let me see if I can find one of mine here. You might want to have a little note nearby. Mine says, expansive consciousness dissolves obstacles. That can be a cue in my mind. Wait, I've got tools. I can do something with this. I don't have to sit here and be miserable. I can make a change. So that is our card for today, surrendering obsessive thinking. Take some time to practice here and there. If you're on your lunch hour sitting on the bench outside of work, do some tapping. See what happens with it. If you're out for your walk and you're finding that you're not enjoying it as much because your brain just won't let go of something, do some breathing, do some whole brain posture. You might sit on a park bench and just put yourself in the whole brain posture and go from there. But hopefully what this creates for you is a more pleasant day, a more enjoyable day, retaining more of your precious energy to invest where you want it to go rather than hemorrhaging it into anxiety and depression. Have an amazing day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.